Welcome back to the Chill Zone podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin', and of course I'm here with my co-host, Roger.
Hey guys, how you doing?
And this week we have another great special guest, Satharin.
Hey, Satharin, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. Yep,
that's good. If you want to go in, this first time on the stream, so if you want to introduce yourself, what do you do for a living, what games you enjoy playing, fun facts, stuff like that.
So yeah, I'm working as a help desk contractor at the moment. Kind of like my first job out of college, just trying to see where it takes me, etc.
Mm-hmm. Right. Got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, and I've been blessed, man. God bless my good work there. But as far as like games and stuff, I really enjoy single player adventure and JRPG games the most.
Okay. I noticed you stream them a lot.
Yes, I do.
Like, if you had to choose one, what's your favorite JRPG game?
Oh my gosh! So
you can say a series, that'll be fine.
No, that's okay. I actually just last year I played Chrono Trigger for the first time.
Okay.
Surprisingly, Lee suggested it to me.
Yeah.
Best RPG I've ever played, dude.
That's what I've heard.
So long.
Yeah, the soundtrack's amazing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I've listened to soundtracks for games, and like that popped into the list, and like I was listening to that for a while.
Yeah, I remember one of our episodes was talking about the music on games and how important it is and whatnot.
Yeah, like the music alone in a game can really, influence and set the tone so quickly. Right. Without it can really detract from the quality of storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, you guys are talking about JRPGs. I've never really got into them as much. I mean, probably the closest I've dabbled in some Final Fantasy games, I guess. That'd probably be the closest thing. But
those are not even close. That is.
And what was the? It's a game on Switch. It's like Chronicles. No, it starts with like an X. I think.
Yeah, it's. Is it the one about the 9 different like travelers or whatever, and their stories intertwine?
It is Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Xenoblade.
Is that considered a JRPG?
That is a JRPG. Yep.
Okay.
That is. Yeah. It's made in Japan.
I've dabbled in that. That
RPG.
That one's just way too long. I looked into how long it would take to beat. It'd be like 150 hours or something. I was like, I don't got time.
Because the biggest thing that you got to watch out for with a JRPG is farming.
Yeah.
Yeah. Farming inside of a game, they make it like an MMO.
Interesting. But let's Roger, how you been, man?
I've been doing pretty good. I just actually beat Castle Nathria in WoW this week. I finished the raid finally. We started Heroic. We're 2 out of 10 on Heroic. I'm trying to get ahead of the curve. Started doing some 2v2s. Found a new comp that works for me. I've been playing with Jeff Slugs, or Sean. He's been on his Warrior. I've been on my Warlock. We've been doing pretty good on that. And I just picked up Valorant again, actually. And been doing really well on it. Like, surprisingly, after setting it down, I come back to it just as filled with rage, just as much rage, but a lot better KDA.
Yeah, that's interesting. I can't wait to hop in that game once I get a graphics card, because playing that game with like 10 frames per second is not my
unplayable.
Forte.
It's a great game.
Definitely not. Satharin, you play Valorant at all?
Yeah, I played it a few times with Roger. It's actually a really good FPS game. I think there's a lot of skill ceiling to it. So you get to learn from your mistakes from when playing Valorant. You can build on that, and it works with like most FPS strategies.
Right. Yeah. No doubt.
I really, and especially for Sotaran, you come from a CS:GO background, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Valorant is just it has all those characters like Overwatch does, but it's the CS:GO gameplay you're looking for.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Seems like that's the style game that a lot of companies are coming out with, is like that. individual
Playing as a
character, a hero based shooter or whatever. So it's cool. It changed up the meta and stuff. So I mean, even from season to season, they can like modify and change different people's abilities and whatnot. I mean, I've noticed it even in games like Apex that I play a lot.
Well,
that it's all generally the same thing.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same thing because they do that all the time. Like in Valorant, they've already nerfed some of the heroes that I play like instantly. So
right, exactly.
Like Sage's walls, they completely changed how her walls work. You know, they build up over time. So if Sage puts a wall in front of a charging team, it ain't gonna stop them. But if Sage puts up a wall and then the team doesn't shoot it in time, that wall is even more powerful than it was. So
okay, yeah, that's
definitely. They've made a lot of changes, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but me personally, I'm doing good. I mean, just dealing with some medical issues right now, but hopefully that gets resolved soon. But game-wise, been trying to complete Watch Dogs. Still trying to beat that out, but I've been trying to take a break on that one. I've been playing a lot of Warzone with the guys. Shout out to Shoot to Win esports team. So it's been a lot of fun, a lot of competitiveness. Actually, their main team just won the three trios tournament last night. Actually, came in first place, cool. So that's pretty cool.
Well, for the tournament, how big was it?
That is a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I just seen it because I'm in part of their group chat now. Because like I guess I'm part of the team, but not officially part of the team. I don't know how it works.
You just kind of like an augment to practice with.
Right. So I mean, it's pretty cool, but. Other than that, it really felt good to pick up Call of Duty again and actually have people to play with and dive back into that franchise. I mean, we've been talking a lot about Call of Duty the past few weeks here. I mean, it really was like, man, I got to play Call of Duty again. I'm tired of talking about it.
Mm-hmm. But makes sense.
Let's get into the gaming topics this week. Or we're gonna start off with the gaming news and rumors. Xbox subscription services. Have you guys noticed that fiasco that kind of happened?
I saw about the fiasco last week that Xbox Live that they were thinking about changing the price of their subscription, and the internet lost their fucking minds.
Oh yeah, it was crazy because like they like doubled the price of gold, and it's crazy to come from the rumors where they were talking about like they thought about like gold might phase out because like but after they redacted what they announced, they basically were like, any free-to-play game does not require gold now, because with the whole Halo Infinite, their multiplayer is going to be free-to-play, as opposed to the campaign. So, like, that was when it triggered, like, when is gold not going to be required to play, like, free-to-play games? But I guess you're still going to need it if you want to, like, party up, I guess, like, have party chat, use those, like, premium, I guess, quote-unquote features. So you're still going to need gold if you want to party up, but you can use game chat if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's at least a little bit nicer, I guess, because, I remember the days where you had to have gold for everything. If you wanted to play online, you had to have online. Right. I've been kind of spoiled on PC life, and I know Taryn has been as well.
Well, that was the thing.
You buy internet, you're good.
Right, right, because that's the thing. Like, Halo Infinite, for example, that people were using, it was like, because that's going to be free to play on Xbox and PC, and obviously you can play with one another, but on PC, you wouldn't need a gold subscription to play, but on Xbox, you would. That's kind of weird. So they got to figure that out, and it's crazy to think they really made a PR move like this. Like they were riding a high wave, and it crashed. I thought it crashed pretty high. Xbox has been doing really well with all these acquisitions of franchises and all these new moves. Their console's good. Like they've been doing really well. But with them doing that, it was like, what were y'all doing? Like this seemed like such a 2013 kind of move. Right. Shout out PS3.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, the PS3, man. I remember the PS2. As long as you bought the component to stick in the back where they had the hard drive bay, you could play on the internet. You just needed an Ethernet cable. But I was still on dial-up at that time, sadly.
So Taryn, are you an Xbox gamer at all, or have you always been PC and PlayStation?
I grew up with consoles, but hanging out with my crew in high school, they were all like PC guys.
Okay.
So
right.
I kind of made the transition, and I'm kind of glad I did because it is, it's definitely different.
It feels more cost effective.
Yeah, it's
What's up, DJ Cred 244? What's happening?
Hey.
But were you an Xbox gamer at all? Were you familiar with the Gold program?
Yeah, so the thing about this price hike is I was comparing it to the Game Pass Ultimate. I'm not sure if I'm skipping
Yeah.
ahead or not.
No, you're good.
No,
It's a good
no, it's Xbox
transition.
subscription.
It's like 60. The Game Pass Ultimate comes out to like maybe 115 or something a year.
Mhm.
Then it's like 15 a month. So I think
Yeah.
what they were trying to do is they were trying to match that with Xbox Live Gold.
Right. Well, it's weird
And-
because like Ultimate includes gold.
Yeah. But the Ultimate includes gold, and you can also get the Game Pass and all the games they offer on there.
Yeah.
Right.
But like
I
when
think
people are used to paying for gold for 60, and you hike it up a bit, especially that much.
Right. They doubled
Yeah.
it to 120
yeah,
for gold.
to be honest, I think the whole fiasco is a little silly. The fact that you have to pay for internet access at this point on a console when all the games are meant to be multiplayer anymore,
Right.
it's just the console's way of playing a hidden charge. I'll be honest with you. There is really no reason that we have to be paying this. Microsoft is already reaping in the money for having the infrastructure there. The games are the infrastructure at this
Right.
point. They're making money off the games.
Right.
So I think it's a little silly at this point that Microsoft is still charging for this. Honestly, they should be charging for the games themselves, I think.
Right.
If you want the free games,
it's
that's
interesting
what they would charge
because
for.
so Tyrion brings up like the Game Pass Ultimate. Like they have other tiers. Like you have base model, which is gold. Then you have Game
Yeah.
Pass, and then you have Game Pass Ultimate. Like I guess it's cool because like it gives like different entry levels, but the price isn't really that different. It's like $10,
But does Game
$12,
Pass have
$15.
gold?
Huh?
Does Game Pass get gold or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you get
the main
gold with
difference-
Game Pass.
The main difference, I think, or no, I don't think Game Pass includes
Yeah.
gold. I
So
think
then
it's
there you
separate.
go. I
So-
guess so. You can get Game Pass, you can get gold, or you can get Game Pass Ultimate. I guess.
Right, so it's like you get
It's their
instead of
pyramid
buying
scheme.
both of them separately, you could just buy it together. But like Game Pass Ultimate though includes other features like xCloud access, so it'd be able to play on like Android and soon to be iOS
okay.
devices. Game Pass Ultimate also allows you to have Game Pass on PC, and you get gold and, like so it's definitely you get a lot for your money at 50. Because I pay for it $15.89 per month. Yeah, it's not. I mean, I feel like I get what I pay for, and it's cool because I'll dive into like random games out of the Game Pass, and that I've never even thought about trying.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
Kind of,
Yeah, no, DJ, you're right. It's kind of silly. Like I not playing on Xbox anymore or even consoles. Period. It's just the KFC console. Yeah, all right. Everyone's transitioning to the KFC console.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
we
they
already
get a
talked about it
charge
on the
for
previous
internet access.
episode. Go check that episode out. But no, yeah. Hopefully Microsoft doesn't do any more of these bad PR stunts because like they're already been trying to dig themselves out of a hole since the launch of Xbox One with all that fiasco-ness. But I think they've been doing pretty good. But any other thoughts on it before
It
we
just
move on to
feels
the
like
next
a
part?
money grab to me.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they need the money. That's the thing. So
They
it's just a
don't.
giant money grab, and they're like, honestly, the fact that they backed down so quickly was their way of testing the waters.
Right.
And when the community backlashed so quickly, it was their way of oh, okay, I'm sorry, we didn't mean it.
Right.
It was
Well,
it
it's
was just
because
their
they
way
have
of
a,
going, can we get away with it?
Microsoft's known for having such a superb social media team, so they really picked up on like all the backlash like immediately, and they're like, "Oh, wait a minute, guys, bad idea,
well, back up.
idea." So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean, I'm glad they had enough common sense to back out of it, and as quick as they did. Like, you imagine if they let that sit overnight and let people like really dig into it, like it probably would have got a lot worse. It might have been really
Yeah.
bad. But
I'm surprising how quickly they changed tune, because I'm surprised they changed tune at all.
no, I'm not. Microsoft's been known to switch up, but not that quickly though.
Yeah.
But let's move on to our other news this week, or I should say rumor, I guess. The new Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is in development, and I guess there's not a confirmed developer, but apparently some insider knows who's developing it, and it's somebody that we wouldn't guess, but they won't tell us who. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
So, Taryn, have you ever played Knights of the Old Republic? I'll ask you first.
Okay, so I have played Knights of the Old Republic. I never completed it. But I know it's a huge gasp. I'm not sure if that was like I was really young back then. I wasn't sure if I understood how to play it fully.
Right,
'Cause
that
I
game
was
came
in
out
the
ages
whole
ago.
MMO thing, but I do know a bunch of people that live by that game, and it's like one of the best like RPGs.
It's a solid RPG, and it's one of those games that really kind of put forward in my mind choices matter. Like that's a big thing for me in modern RPGs, and I think that was one of the first one that gave me what I wanted. It was like if you made a wrong decision, you all of a sudden gained points in the dark side, and you're like, wait,
Right.
and then you were like, wait. Is it fun? Because the dark side had cool powers. I'll be honest. Dark
Right.
side had way cooler powers. Like, so you look at him, you're like,
I mean,
maybe
why do you think
be the bad guy?
Why do you think Anakin fell to the dark side? It had a power
Yeah.
to save his wife.
That would
quote
save,
unquote. So yeah,
it would have saved Padme. Yeah.
right. So yeah, I
So-
mean that's cool. But it'll be pretty cool to see like how if they do come out with a new KOTOR, or because you also got that new open world Star Wars game. So hopefully it's not too similar in a way.
Yeah,
as
honestly,
well.
I think the open world Star Wars game, fight me, but it's probably going to be trash.
Which the open world one? Yeah, we've already been over that one. I
Yeah.
think me and you have opposite beliefs. I have high hopes for this game, so we'll see who comes out on top when it does release.
Uh-oh.
man.
You triggered chat.
Man, come on, Jeff. Jeff Slugs, you might have to fight me.
Yeah, honestly, he was tempted by the dark side. It had what he needed, and
Right.
it met his ideals.
Right, and he wasn't strong enough in the Force, and he thought the dark side would make him that.
Yeah. Especially when they were like, he can't talk in meetings. So, but this is a topic for another discussion.
Right, no doubt,
The fact
no doubt.
we're, you know,
Getting off topic here.
Yeah.
But do you guys think that this will be a reboot of that game, or do you think this will kind of make the other two games canon? Because as of right now, the first two games are considered
yeah, they're
canon
not
right now.
canon.
Right. So do you think
So-
this will activate those? What are your
I don't
thoughts?
know.
I was reading an article, and they were saying that since they are like remaking it, they're going to be trying to tie it up with the current canon. That
Okay.
makes any sense. So
Yeah, they're.
Well,
I heard it's supposed to be.
it would be the first
5,000
of its
years or
kind, though,
something.
because as of right now, there's no content from the Old Republic.
Yeah, well, the other thing is this game is supposed to be 5,000 years after the
Before.
the Luke Skywalker stories.
No, it's supposed to be way before.
I thought it was 5,000 years after.
No, it's always before. It's the Old Republic, and then they got this new era that they just created as the New Republic, and then
Okay.
it's the Skywalker saga.
When is the Galactic Republic? The Galactic Republic.
The New Republic?
Yeah, because
The New Republic is
what's-
considered 400 years before.
Okay, so
episode
yeah,
1.
because this is supposed to be, from what I read, this is supposed to be you're supposed to be stopping a threat to the Galactic Republic.
Yeah. I mean, the
So-
Galactic Republic was even in the prequels, or, like episodes 1, 2, and 3, technically. That was just the fall, like the rest of it. Because, like, the New Republic, which the first book just came out last month, or this month, technically, this talks about, like, when the Sith basically don't exist. They're hiding in, technically, the rule of two. And the Jedi
Yeah.
are, like, these true guardians of the galaxy. Like, they're like, the true good guys and stuff like that. So, and then you see the ultimate fall of the Jedi in the newer stuff. So, the Old Republic takes place even before then, when the Sith were around in plenty of numbers too. It wasn't the rule of
Yeah.
two that wasn't implemented until like Darth Bane or something like. I forget who implemented the rule. Takes place
Yeah, so-
25. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's going to be during the Galactic Republic is when this game's supposed to be taking place, and you're supposed to be stopping one of the big bad Siths
Yeah.
who is potentially gathering the Sith together to destroy the Galactic Republic.
Well, I hope they
That's
bring
from
back
what I
all
read.
those iconic characters from those games because they were pretty dope.
Yeah.
Yes, we know what BB1
Yeah.
stands for. If you're not a Star Wars
Yeah.
fan, I feel bad for you. But what's your thoughts on this, Taryn? Any other thoughts on it?
I just hope that they keep like I think was that the first game that introduced like the whole dark side and light side thing?
For Star Wars game, yeah. you
Yeah,
could choose
with
sides.
Star Wars game, you could choose to go dark side or light side,
Mm-hmm.
and your choices mattered.
Was the Force Unleashed? Did that give you that ability? I don't really remember those games that
I
much.
don't think so.
I thought they did, but because you were technically Vader's apprentice, but like you were turning on him.
hmm
So like I guess you were dark side and became good. I don't know. I forget those games. They're like a blip in the memory. they weren't that great. And plus, I was too young to like truly, really remember those ones. But what platforms do you think this new game could come out for? Do you think it'll be like next gen and PC, or do you think they're going to try and put it on all
So we're
platforms?
only getting teasers, so you're looking at a year and a half out at least. I don't think you're going to see the game this year. You'll see it maybe summer of next year, if not later. And with big game release season, it's in the fall and winter. I don't think we're going to see it this year.
Oh
And
no,
it's
I mean
because
it's
it's
technically
just
not
teased.
officially announced. These are just rumors.
Yeah, exactly. So with it just being a rumor, it's going to be 2022, 2023. And if that's the case, you're looking at probably just the new Xbox One and the new PlayStation and
It's
PC.
not a new Xbox One. It's the Series X and S. And
Yeah,
then
the
PS5.
Series X. So
yeah, for sure. I
the
mean,
new
heck, it might not
Xbox
even
and the
come
new
out till after.
PlayStation.
It might not even come out until that next gen, because even like they were talking about the new Elder Scrolls game. This was a separate rumor that's not on our agenda for today, but that game is apparently not coming out until like 2028 or something like that. It's so far off that it could potentially not even be on this generation. It'll be on next gen, or might catch the tail end of this one.
Well, it's kind of like a teaser at a teaser like Cyberpunk is.
Yeah, well, hopefully it
You know.
doesn't end up like Cyberpunk.
Well, I mean,
Which is a good transition to our
if
next
it's an
topic.
Elder Scrolls game, it's gonna probably be like one of the newer ones, and they just slowly get worse.
No, yeah, I've never been a big fan of those games.
Yeah, and
is
Cyberpunk
not
isn't
I
bad.
know.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
not.
It's
It's
a
not.
great
It's just
game.
having a shit ton of issues.
It's this gen Skyrim.
No, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And this is a good transition to our Cyberpunk. I heard the new update is causing a new game-breaking bug. Have you guys experienced that yet?
Yeah, so I got an update the other day, and I noticed it's not game breaking because I'm already past the point where it would have been game breaking.
Yeah, because that was with Takumara, I think his name was.
Takemura, yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happens is I've been getting phone calls recently, and the first line of dialogue is just missing. I'll pick up the phone, and the guy's like, and my character goes, "Oh yeah, I can help you with that." And I was like, "What am I helping him with?"
Right. You just gotta assume. You just gotta know this already, Roger. What are you doing?
Yeah, so I've been having issues lately since the recent patch. Not the one that's supposed to fix the stuff,
Right.
but 1.11, I think it was. I was having issues where phone calls were just first line's gone.
Yeah. What
So I lost the first.
What about you, Soteran? You
clip.
been playing Cyberpunk at all and having issues?
I actually been watching Roger play.
No, I hear
And
that.
I can tell
Nothing
you
wrong with
one
that.
thing: if someone is laughing hysterically at game bugs, then you know you got a problem.
Yeah.
I've heard Roger literally like.
Like, what the fuck is going on here?
No, yeah,
Yeah,
it's great. It's like those bugs in these games had like some of them been bad, but it's just like it just makes you just lose it, like laugh out, like you're literally LOLing. But
I love CD Projekt Red as a company, at least up until like The Witcher. I knew they were like mainly like a PC developer.
right. So you weren't a
And-
fan of like The Witcher 3?
I'm not sure if they. Oh yeah, they moved that one to console, didn't they? But I know the
Yeah.
first two they
They were PC exclusives.
Yeah, then they were
Yeah.
ported over to console at a later time.
Yeah, and it was just at that time where like PC ports were so poop. Like
Yep.
nothing. There was awful PC ports everywhere, and they were like the only company out there that
Yeah.
was making it right, and it was good.
What is
It's really sad to me to see that.
what is
Cyberpunk
Jeff
go
talking
away.
about with the baseball bat?
Oh, so I'll shed some light here. So they were asking about glitches that made me laugh really hysterically. One of my favorite ones is I was inside of a building trying to steal some plans, and I accidentally hit the call vehicle button. Now, I had my motorcycle selected while I'm in the 30th floor of a penthouse apartment, and all I hear is, and I was like, what the hell's going on? So I look around the corner of the room, and my motorcycle just drives up into the penthouse on the 30th floor, on fire, completely busted, and just goes, dee-dee,
No, it didn't. No,
unusable.
Please tell me this is a real. You gotta find that clip. I know you have it recorded.
I think I have it. Because it's 60 days out. I probably still have it because Cyberpunk's not that old yet.
No, yeah.
I probably still have that clip. Another one was I was stalking a bunch of people, and I finally was getting one of the missions right where I wasn't alerting anyone. This was before I got my sniper rifle that I'm just like shooting people through walls with now.
Exactly.
But I like walked up to grab somebody, and they just walked right through the scenery and kept walking forward, and I was like, so I tried to run around the stuff, and he just looks at me, and I'm like, die, and I'm like killing him, and I get away with it. I'm like, oh, thank God. And the next one I had was I parked my vehicle outside of somebody's apartment. I come out after the quest, hop in the vehicle, back up, and my vehicle just goes through the ground and just and it kept gaining velocity till it hit the bottom, reloaded in a different part of the city, went straight down, reloaded in a different part of the city, and I was just like, well,
yeah,
reload.
Oh my. I'm glad I have yet to experience anything like that. I would probably be pissing my pants because laughing so hard.
Yeah, it's some of the rendering. And one of my favorites still, a lot of people get this, is when you turn around and they're like, oh, time to load something, and they load 30 garbage bags in one spot, so you just get confetti garbage bags.
I agree with Chad here. Like, they hype it up so much, and they want you to pre-order the game so much, and then they underperform with the game, and it's just like, we want a fully developed game. Like, you spend all this time and all this money, you hype the game up, and then you give us a game that has to be patched severely for months to come. It got to stop. I definitely agree.
Yeah. And honestly, the game isn't that terrible, in my opinion. It's, if you were to put a Skyrim game and a Cyberpunk game head-to-head, the game's still the same thing to me. Like, the depth of story is way better, 100% better in Cyberpunk. The combat, the ability to do things, the ability to approach scenarios is amazing. And people love Elder Scrolls. They just keep re-releasing it, and it's the same thing over and over again.
And I agree with Sean here. Like, he's talking about, like, now that we have the internet to patch it, as opposed to old games when they came out, they were just shit. But like that's the excuse though that developers use. They're like, oh, we can just push it out now and sell it because we already hyped it up enough. People are going to buy it,
and we'll patch it.
We'll just fix it later. That's the problem.
The biggest issue I have is when to fix it, they give you DLC. If you have to buy DLC to fix a game, then you're not buying a game.
Yeah, at that point, you might as well be making up and kissing ass and giving people the free DLC.
Yeah. So, like, honestly, I get Cyberpunk was overhyped, but it's just, there's a lot going on. The depth of play, there's just so much that you kind of have to have an amazing computer to render it all.
Right. You pay for a full game. I don't pay for a half-ass game, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
hopefully it's something that changes. I think this game is honestly going to trigger that in the gaming industry, because like this is clearly has been very bad for the gaming industry, period. Like, not alone CD Projekt Red. Like,
this was one of the most anticipated games ever
of all time. Yeah, and and then we got like a shit show for a lot of people.
Yeah,
because you figure most of the install base was on Xbox One, PS4. Most of the people who own the game had it on that console. And it didn't work for them.
That's where the shit show begins. Like, for me on PC, I can look past all the little bugs and glitches, because most of the time it wasn't like game breaking, anger inducing. Like, most of the time I run the game without issues. Right. But when I get into the actual city where there's just so much in one spot, that's when the game starts to render improperly and things just get a little haywire. Mm-hmm. So like, I honestly think, I feel bad for the people on Xbox and PS4. They were the ones who got the short end of the stick. The game should have probably been dumbed down for them. They should have gotten their own separate release of the game.
Right. I mean, heck, look at what 2K did. NBA 2K. It gave basically a copy and paste version of 2K20 for last gen. And with next gen, they waited like a whole month to release the next gen version of the game. It was a completely different game. Mm-hmm. And like that's almost what Cyberpunk probably should have done at this point. Like, but it still blows my mind to think like this game was announced during last gen. It was developed the entire lifespan of last gen. You had last gen's technology the most. This game should have been optimized for last gen, but they focused too much on next gen. Once that was
when the next gen got announced, they tried to push it forward because they're like, the computer can handle this, but the consoles can't. And then next gen got announced. They're like, let's go for that. But then they still released the unpolished turd that was PS4 and Xbox One.
Right. Yeah, that was the issue. Like, I would have definitely taken a another delay just to make the game come out and not have
Yeah.
nearly as half the many as the issues
If they
it came.
delayed it again, it wouldn't have been a problem. Now, mind you, depending on like, for the most part, the game is pretty great. It's the people who couldn't afford to push themselves into that next gen category,
Right.
whether it be on PC
But
or
that's a lot of people
on
though, because you
console.
figure like
Yeah,
70%.
it's most
I
of the
guess,
market.
Yeah, 70% of the market. At least I'm just pulling
Yeah.
a number. I'm just guessing about 70% of the market was on those older consoles, if not more. It might even be more because
Yeah.
there's not that many next gen consoles out, and who honestly
Yeah.
has a pretty powerful rig on PC. A lot of people
Yeah.
come in at the budget level or mid tier.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, the budget tier can handle the game. It's not going to look like, the best game ever, but it's still playable.
Right. Right. And but the thing is, people want it to be playable and look like the best game ever.
And the other thing is, don't get me wrong, the game doesn't crash. I don't get crashes. I've only ever crashed once, and I don't even remember what it was for, what happened, but I've only ever crashed once.
Right. And I can't
But
see
the
that for
PS4,
Call of
on
Duty.
the other hand, they move 5 minutes and they crash.
Right. It's crazy. Call of Duty I've been playing lately. I've been saying I've crashed that game like multiple times in one night.
And people still play the shit out of it.
Yeah, I still play the shit out of it. I'm like, all right, cool, I'm going to reboot it. Let me load it
Yeah.
back up. Oh, it crashed again, guys. I'll be right back. It's crazy. But before we move on to our second topic of the day, so Taryn, have you ever had a game that just was really buggy to you? Like, it doesn't have to be Cyberpunk, but any games in your past that you can think of?
Well, I too have been playing some Warzone recently, and that game is really hardly optimized. I don't know what it is. I think it's just the game's just so big now that like
Yeah, one update, 80 gigabytes. I mean, like,
yeah, there's just so much conflict going on there.
I literally
know what
don't
it is.
have storage space if I wanted to play it.
oh yeah, it's insane. Like, to have the game, I think. I mean, granted, you can pick and choose what you want to install from that game, which is cool. I wish all games had that feature.
Well, Halo does, which is nice.
Yeah, Halo and Call of Duty were the first ones to allow you that option because they realized, oh crap, these files are about to be way too big, big.
Why deal with these huge files when we can just let you choose what content you want to use.
Shout out to the Spooky crew for showing up.
Yeah.
Yo, chat. What games have been buggy for you guys? We'll shout out some of those and talk about those a little bit too. But any other games, Saturn, that you even in the past, like last gen or other games you think of that may have been buggy for you?
Surprisingly, I haven't had too many issues with bugs lately. There may be like the one or two like PC games that just receive zero support when they come out. I think that was like way back. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I haven't really had issues lately. I think they're doing a really good job as far as getting support out there for PC.
The sons of nice ladies. That's great. Nah, yeah, for sure. Nah, yeah. I mean, personally, I've had a few games with bugs. Not nearly as bad as Cyberpunk. I mean, but I've never even had bad issues with Cyberpunk. Every time I talk about Cyberpunk, I have a great game running on my Series X.
I do too. I just feel bad for the people like I have guildmates from WoW who are like, I had to refund it because it crashed every 4 minutes on PS4, and I'm like, yeah, well, you're also playing on a PS4.
Right. You might as well. I mean, I know it's hard to get a next gen.
Like
console,
sometimes I'm playing games that were released partway through PS4, and it's like, well, I don't know if it's going to load today, but I'll hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe one time.
And the same with the Xbox One. I have that, and that sometimes is like, yeah, I'll get to it. You hit the middle button, you're like, and there's the menu. Or if you hit it,
and the thing is,
it didn't go. You hit it again, and it just goes boop boop.
you have one of the OG Xbox ones as well. The VCR is what they call it. That's great. No, that was definitely good talks right there. Let's move on to our next topic. I was going to talk about getting into some of the Resident Evil news. I mean, this is a franchise that's been around for 25 years, pretty much all our lives,
PlayStation 1, yeah.
Right, it's been around a long time. And the fact that they're still going. I mean, the franchise was like up and then crashed, and then it picked back up with 7. But so Tyrion, were you a big fan of the Resident Evil series at all?
Okay, surprisingly, I am a huge Resident Evil fan.
Oh yeah, that's good. It sounds like we picked out a good topic this week for you. What's your experience though? Like over the course with like the Resident Evil games, like what were some of your favorites? Which ones did you dislike?
Well, I grew up as a kid, completely terrified. Myself.
I mean,
It was only like maybe 5 years after, until I actually like grew up a bit, that I wasn't terrified of playing it. But I've been hooked to that game since just watching my brother play it, and just watching it evolve over the years is really interesting. I feel like it's one of Capcom's IPs where they're like,
they haven't fucked it up.
Weird. It's like
they've had a few bad games.
I wouldn't consider the newer ones Resident Evil in like the Resident Evil sense, because it's a completely different perspective.
Yeah. Well,
but it's a cauldron, and it's just like.
Well, I don't know. I would say 7 and 8 are kind of more back towards the classical Resident Evil experience.
Yeah, it's more horror based.
The collecting guns, the
managing your inventory.
Exactly. That's my favorite piece. Where you look at something, you're like, oh shit, a new gun. Shit. I'm hoarding ammo. Where do I put it?
Right.
I don't need this pistol ammo anymore. I'll take 2 sniper shots instead.
Right. No, I think that's pretty cool. Like he was saying, I've watched the evolution of the games, and Resident Evil 4 was probably their oldest peak. And once they got to 4, because 5 and 6 was meh. Like, because 5 was their first game where they went co-op, and that was like meh. And then 6 was like their worst game of all time. Well, and then they had Revelations, I think, was another bad one. I don't even think I played that one.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. I agree with Sean. They're vastly different, because the lore is it's all about the virus. The virus makes the zombies. Right. And like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they all are focused on the altering the human experience. And then they're like, okay, now we're going to deal with a vampire. An actual vampire, I guess, is what she is now.
Yeah, it's really weird. And then like the whole movie incorporation, like I enjoyed the movies, but then even then, like the movies, like the first like 2 or 3 of them, great movies. After that, you're like, is this even Resident Evil anymore?
Yeah, like what I was saying is like I feel like it's cool because it's such like a beloved IP, and the fact that they can like change it from fixed perspective and then move on to over the shoulder with 4 through 6, and then bring it back to first person. Yeah, I think that's great what they're doing with it. Some people dislike certain versions, but like I think it's great what they're doing with the series regardless.
And one of the things is I really like is they're going back towards their sort of horror roots, because like I played 4, 5, and 6. I liked 5 and 6 be controversial. I liked 5 and 6 because I played with friends. It was the one where you could play co-op. So it became less of a horror game and more of a reminded me almost of my experience playing Halo. I'm just going in through a co-op shooter game.
Right.
But honestly, playing the remakes as well, I really liked them. Mm-hmm. I'm not a fan of horror. I'm the first guy you'll hear, like, if I don't have push to talk on, my stream is going to hear me scream like a little girl, and I've done it. I've done it before. Like, I walked around a corner, didn't hear stomping, and I just opened a door, and he just goes whoop through the door.
Right. Right, no doubt. Yeah, Resident Evil, man, there's a lot of good memories playing that game, like, whether watching it or playing it. It's just always been a staple in the gaming industry, or I should say the entertainment industry.
It's like Silent Hill and Resident Evil are your core horror games. Those are when you talk about like what built horror for the gaming industry, it's Silent Hill and it's Resident Evil.
Evil Within, that was a good game. That's a good franchise. Shout out to Xbox now though, because they own them.
Yeah, so
we'll see.
And I've heard good things about that. But like these games wouldn't exist without Resident Evil or Silent Hill. These are and Resident Evil
because
to make
Silent
this
Hill
comeback
hasn't been out in a long time.
Yeah, and to make this comeback, I think with the new Resident Evil, I'm actually kind of excited. I didn't play 7, and I might actually go play Resident Evil 7.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7's like right like in this area, I think.
Did you beat it?
Never even played it. I bought it, installed it, and put it on the bookshelf. Never even touched it yet. And I've had it for like probably since day one. There's a lot of games on that shelf that I've yet to touch.
And I kind of get that feeling. Same with you're gonna hate when you get on computer and you get yourself Steam because my library's unplayed. But no, I think honestly the new Resident Evil, when it finally comes out, I'm thinking because of what it involves and what it is, I don't think we're going to have to worry too much about what platform it's on.
Mhm.
But I'm definitely betting we're going to see optimizations for PC and the next gen.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure it'll probably be on all consoles right now, especially because it's supposed to come out, I think, May 7th, I think is the release date for Village, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken. But they also announced that new game, too. It's kind of very simplistic multiplayer game, but it's Resident Evil Verse or something like that.
Well,
I don't know too
I
much
think that's
details on
kind
it.
of based off the same concept as the Resident Evil Mastermind or whatever I think it's called that was released with the remaster of 3. Yes,
Mhm.
yeah, the remaster of 3 had the multiplayer mode, and it's one guy sort of pulling the strings and attacking players who are trying to survive
Right,
together.
so like, what is that, Friday the 13th or
Yeah.
Day of the Dead or whatever that,
Yeah.
whatever that game was.
Honestly, to be frank with you, I think if there is going to be a multiplayer in this new Resident Evil, it's probably going to be that sort of big bad,
Well,
mastermind
it's not going to be
1v
in
everyone.
Village. It's its own separate game. It's called
Yeah.
RE Verse, is what it's called.
Yeah. So it'll probably end up being, as I said, a 1v many kind of game.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, for sure. I
'Cause
think you
The
imagine,
zombies
like,
are easy to kill.
Right.
It's the big guys that are the problem.
right. Yeah, I mean, I feel like they can come out with different modes. Like they can have like a zombies mode like Call of Duty, or they can go where like or the evolve route where like you were saying, like you have this one big guy trying to hunt down the rest of the party, but like
Yeah.
instead of like Friday the 13th where you can't kill the dude, you can actually kill the bad guy. So it'd be pretty cool to see that, like a survival
It probably,
aspect.
if anything, it would be better just to be an escape mode, in my opinion. I think the ability to escape and not being able to kill the bad guy adds more horror to the game. Oh, I
yeah,
stunned
that
him.
would be
Run.
cool.
That's like with the remake of 2. I never played the original 2, so when I played 2, and you shot him, and you're like, "Ha, I got him," and then he gets back up, and you're like,
Uh oh. What's up, Philipper?
"Hey, Phil."
But no, yeah,
yeah,
that's pretty
no.
cool.
So
Do you think they'll ever try to make the games connect with the movies at all? Because I feel like there's never really any
no. The
correlation.
movies are based on the games,
Yeah,
so
well, yeah, one way or another, but neither of them I feel like ever feel connected. Like obviously,
well,
they
that's
have,
the thing. They have different directors.
Mhm.
They write their own stories, and honestly, I think the story of Resident Evil 2, 3, those could have been a story that happens in, you know, it could have been a movie story. But I think the sort of Blade style or
action scenes.
the action adventure that they do in those movies more fits towards what they're looking for.
Mhm.
You know,
So
to
I guess
give
it was a way
those
to mix
heroes-
it up instead of it keeping it like these horror-esque movies. They went with like a different way to present the same universe to mix it up a
Yeah.
little bit.
But honestly, I don't think they'll ever really match up. I think they've got their own sort of motif about they've got their own storytelling.
Right.
I've
right.
never actually seen one of the Resident Evil movies the whole way through.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
Those were one of some of my favorites, like growing up.
Well,
For sure.
I'm not a fan of horror.
Yeah, that's
Like,
fair.
you know, I'm deathly afraid of horror. Like I can't sleep at times. But then again, I'll play a horror game because the story's great.
right. So out of all of the games, which one would be your favorite? We'll start with Soterin. Out of all of them, what is your favorite?
I'm gonna have to go with the original remake just because
Okay.
I like the whole fixed perspective scene. I kind of miss those kind of game types, and
Yeah.
it literally did what it said, and it was it's a remake of the first one. It didn't change too much other than graphics, and the only thing they added was more modes and made it more fun. So kudos.
That's pretty cool. What about you, Roger?
So honestly, it's not playing the series until like 4, I think, or 5. I really enjoyed those games at first, and then when I got to see what 2 was when they made the remake,
Right.
2 hands down to me was an amazing game. I thought the remake of 3 was a flop.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I played the game in less than 5 hours. I beat 3, and I was like, oh, that's it. Like the
Yeah.
fact that 2, you play through the story, you play through a bad story, you play through the bad story, then you play through the good story, and then the true story. I
Right.
thought that was kind of neat how you're like, oh, I kind of know what's coming up next. even though in the end the characters die off, oh, wait, the whole game's changed. I liked that storytelling that the 2 remake did, and I assume that's the same as the original 2. I really liked the story. I thought it was great. This idea that there's this virus out there, somebody's trying to destroy it. Turns out she isn't trying to destroy it. Oh, the guy who made it injected himself. Like, oh God, all these, these things that are going on. It's like, it almost felt, I like the story because it feels like a real story. Like, oh, who knows what's actually going on behind closed doors of some of these labs. They invented, the coronavirus is made in a lab, so like.
Right, for sure. But me personally, I'm dabbled in Resident Evil here and there. I'm probably not the biggest Resident Evil fan. I would love to go through the whole series again, but I've never played the first 2. But when I started playing, it was 3 and 4, and I really enjoyed 3 and 4. 5, I gave 5 a try. It wasn't a fan, so I would probably have to say like my favorite is probably 3. 3 was just too. It still stuck to its roots, but still had something fresh, I think. And the story was good, me personally. Mm-hmm. But that's just granted not playing 2. So maybe if I play 2, I might think that 3 is awful.
Yeah, and reaching out to Tubi here in chat, like, so I didn't play with the original fixed perspective, but I've seen it, and I kind of get what you're saying. But at the same time, like for me, the game is Resident Evil as long as the story is Resident Evil. And It kind of devolved from that for me a little bit when I understood what's happening in 5 and 6 and at 4, 5, and 6. The story really dissolved for me, and it wasn't the original story anymore. Now the zombies are intelligent. Now the zombies are like,
you're like, wait a minute,
correlating with other zombies, and it's is it really the same game anymore? But I think a change of perspective. Like I personally wouldn't have played that fixed perspective. I like sort of the over the shoulder or the first person camera. It makes me feel more in like as a role playing aspect. But from a storytelling perspective, I feel as though the fixed perspective does add that sort of sense of shit. The controls are a little more rough. You kind of feel like you're stuck, and it kind of adds to the tension too.
Right. Yeah, I bought this probably, I think it was last year, Resident Evil Origins collection. I think this is 0 and 1. Started to play 0, right? And I was really enjoying it. I was like, cool. And I got to a point when I died in it. And mind you, I never realized that there was not an autosave feature. You had to stop at certain points to save. Yeah, I had to restart from the very beginning of the game. And I was like, I don't even want to play this game no more. And it's been sitting on my shelf until I just picked it up. I was like, yeah, I couldn't do it. I was so mad when that happened.
I wanted to play 1, but I didn't know there was a 0. I guess is that like a prequel to 1?
I guess so. I'm assuming. I've never really dabbled in them, but I assume that's what these 2 are. 0 and 1.
Well, Soterin can probably elaborate more.
Yeah, 0 is a prequel to 1.
When did that come out?
I think that came out after Resident Evil 2 did.
Okay, so like it's pretty dated then.
Yeah, it's a pretty dated game.
Okay.
Yeah, these are just the remakes or the ported versions or whatever for Xbox One is what I have.
Yeah.
But, no, yeah, Resident Evil, it's a franchise that's going to be around for a while. It seems like it's doing really good. 7's good.
Yeah,
8.
honestly, I think with 6, 7, and 8, they're kind of returning to their origins of horror storytelling. Horror storytelling with the inventory management that makes me angry. But I love.
Right. No doubt. It would be pretty cool.
I hate it, and I love to hate it.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive into 7 because 8 is a sequel to 8, or 8 is a sequel to 7. So I definitely think I should play 7 before I dive into
honestly, I'll probably grab it on PC and play through it.
Right.
Because I did enjoy 2 and 3. Even though 3 was very short, I still enjoyed the games. I thought they were really good, and I would like to try, instead of just these quick spurt stories, but a whole actual immersive story.
Right, for sure. All right, guys. Any last thoughts on Resident Evil at all?
No, honestly, I hope 8 actually does it justice. I'm a little sad to hear that the voice actor from Resident Evil, one of the biggest voice actors in there, she died at 39 actually just yesterday. Jean Moss, I think is her name.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah, Jeanette Mouse. She died yesterday or the day before. So, I think if you're looking for those voice actors that really kind of sell you on the story, she's not going to be around anymore. So
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It definitely sucks, especially for all those true Resident Evil fans too. They're like, man. But I really hope
Yeah.
that they were able to get enough lines out of it. Like, hopefully the game's complete, so she'll be in it. Hopefully they add like something at the end of the credits or something like that for In Love and Memory or something like that. That'd be pretty cool to see. But
Yeah.
it'll be a so she definitely left her mark. She's been doing the voice in Resident Evil for a while. But let's move on to our last gaming topic of the week. We're gonna talk about like when will next gen be considered current gen, because we've already talked about the issues that Cyberpunk has, and that's because like they've had to make a game for current gen, which is Xbox One and PS4. When do you think that'll transition to where Xbox One and PS4 are last gen?
Xbox One and PS4 have to have less consoles in the market than next gen. Next gen has to be readily available for every consumer who wants one.
Yeah, so you're probably thinking 2-3 years we're out.
Honestly, year and a half.
Yeah, well, because I know there's going to be shortages
over.
of consoles right now for next gen, at least until April or June of this
Yeah,
year.
well, that's still only half a year.
Right.
So by the time I think next holiday season, we're going to really see the old consoles sort of bury themselves and the new ones come out.
Right. It's a very important transition too, because like you can't forget about that install base on those consoles, because like that's a lot of money you're just forgiving if you just we're not going to make it for them, because not a lot of people can either afford or even find a next gen console, and that's the problem right now. So
I think once everyone's able to, like, when the market has it, when the market's there with it, then that's fine. But until the market can support it, there's no incentive. You're going to kill off your gaming community.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So about a whole year after release, that would definitely make sense, for sure.
Yeah, so.
But because granted, some games are still going to be coming out for both consoles, but there are, next gen exclusives, like the one that just came out today, The Medium for Xbox Series X and S, that released today. Yeah. That's another horror game, since it's similar to Resident Evil stuff. So that I can't wait to check that one out. But Ratchet and Clank for PS5 is a PS5 exclusive that's coming out. Hopefully in the coming months. So we're going to start seeing those games, but not every game is going to be made for next gen exclusive.
Mm-hmm. And that's it. There shouldn't be next gen exclusives that much right now, because it really cuts out your base, and it says, okay, scalpers, here's more reasons for people to actually buy your scalped products.
Yeah, for $2,000 later.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of real shitty, I think, to cut your player base out like that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you can't start making better games until you say, hey, we can't support these old consoles. They just don't have the hardware anymore. They're dying. They're slowing down.
Right. Which segues to my next question here is, do you think that the older systems is holding back the new systems, like the games and stuff like that? Because I think Cyberpunk is a great example of that, where it could. Yeah. I think Cyberpunk could be even more than what it already is now.
If it was a next gen exclusive, it'd have been. I think we would have been fine. We wouldn't hear as many complaints.
What's your thoughts, Sotiern?
Well, as far as I think,
oh, you let go of your push to talk.
No, I was kind of thinking about the question a bit. I think the older consoles, they will be holding them back for a bit, but again, with Roger's fan base thing, like, you'd be alienating that whole generation that's been supporting you, and like the fact that new consoles, like the new consoles, there's not that many games for them out yet, and I think that smooth transition, it will happen within that year that Roger was saying regarding the holidays coming around.
Mm-hmm.
You have a year till the holidays come back.
Right, I think the biggest thing holding back, the only thing that I'm trying not to skip ahead here.
No, you're fine.
I think the only thing that would be holding back next generation would be maybe the Xbox Series S/X, because I'm not sure how that's going to work, because they did release those two models, and the S is kind of weaker than the X, so I'm not sure.
But that's the thing, like,
handled.
With that, the difference between those consoles is one does 4K, one does 1440p. It's the exact same CPU. The GPU is slightly down because it doesn't have to produce 4K. So, and it has the same NVMe RDNA
Hard
architecture in the hard drive and stuff. So like it's basically an identical console. One just supports 4K and one does 1440p.
Okay. Yeah,
One's all digital and one has a disk drive.
When did they come out?
The Series S and X.
Yeah.
That's the next gen consoles.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. The white
Right.
one, the smaller one, does 1440p, and the X does 4K.
The black
bigger
one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only difference.
Refrigerator.
That's primarily the difference between those consoles. That's why it's a great entry point to get into next gen gaming because most people don't even have a good 4K TV anyway, and all the consoles can do 120 FPS, and most people don't have a TV that doesn't even support that either. And even if they want to stream, you can't really. No one has this internet stability to stream at 4K. Most people can't do that.
Yeah.
So that console is like the perfect console to get into next gen gaming because it literally does everything. It's cheap. It's a $300 console. That's cheap. You can enter that market, and it's undercut PlayStation because PS5 disc and discless is $500 and $400. What's up, Mook? Shout out. Thanks for joining, bro.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. But I mean, the PlayStation has the only difference between the two PlayStations is one has a disc drive and one doesn't. There's no other differences or anything like that. So I think the Xbox has a leg up. I know we're kind of getting off topic here, but it'll be an interesting transition period to see how games are developed. I can't wait until all games are made for next gen because even between like when Xbox One first came out to the end of the generation, games are tremendously different because the games had to be made for 360 as opposed to Xbox One only.
And my follow-up to this is it's the same sort of sentiment that PS2 to PS3 had for me, you know? Mm-hmm. It's the price point jumping forward is hard for many people. And not only the price point, but then you've got these consoles that just came out. We have yet to see what they can and can't do.
Right.
Because who knows? We may get 6 months down the road and they're like, oh shit, our chips are melting off the boards.
Right.
We don't know yet. We've seen these issues before. Oh shit, the red ring's back, you know?
Hey, don't start now.
So we haven't seen them in the market long enough for them to be current gen. They will not be current gen, like Jeff said, like Sean said in chat. It's not going to be current gen until it's been out there long enough. And, you know, a full year, to me, seems pretty fair because it has to become the standard for it to become current gen. Right. So current gen is still the Xbox One and the PS4. Those are current gen. Right. Until people can finally upgrade, the market can't move with them because the market will alienate those players. It will lose their cash revenue. If they lose their cash revenue, they can't produce games. So then they have to tone their games down. Right.
It's a slow process for sure, but at least we'll get a taste here and there of next gen exclusives. Like I said, starting off with today. Yeah. So it'd be pretty cool to see those first games come next gen that are able to use the next gen features like the NVMe hard drive where they can run two worlds at the same time and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I think the biggest issue we're going to see is those next-gen games that are coming out now, they're just supposed to be teaser trailers for the market to really want to buy those consoles.
Right.
You get your exclusive IPs to make your next-gen kind of game to tease that console to get those people in. Because, I'll be honest with you, I got an Xbox One, but I never played some of the original exclusives for it. Never played Rise or whatever it was, the Roman Centurion game. Yeah.
I think that's over there, too. Haven't played it.
Yeah, so exactly. There are these games that aren't going to get great acclaim or they're going to kind of get very little fan base. They're kind of like martyrs for the next gen until the economy and the player base can catch up. They're next gen.
No, yeah,
it's the same thing with a 30 series card. You know, I know Sateran got a 30 series card, but he had to wait 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah, but at least
3 months in a queue. 3 months in a queue.
At least he got it.
Yeah, at least he got a freaking card. But he got an EVGA, so I don't know. Is that what you got?
Yeah, I did the EVGA auto notify. I highly suggest if you really want a card to get in that queue sooner than later. They're pretty solid on getting back to you.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's interesting 'cause-
how long did you get time till you had to buy it or you lost your ticket?
So they give you when the product becomes available for you, they give you 24 hours to check out.
Oh,
Or move on to the next person. So
Gotta
Hey,
move
I
quick.
mean, at least that gives everyone a legitimate chance, and it's not
Yeah.
randomized every single time. Because like
No.
because that what's that, the 3060 card that you were showing me, that comes out next
Yeah.
month?
Yeah, supposedly the rollout's next month. There hasn't been very much detail to my knowledge for the 3060 rollout, but if you're
Right.
looking to get a budget card, the 60 series has always been the budget for every generation. Yeah,
Right.
and yeah, I agree with Tubi here. 24 hours is very generous. Like, if you're in this queue, you would expect to have the money on hand already
Right.
because they're not cheap.
No.
So to be like, so
No doubt. But yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to get this 3060 card next month. Hopefully I'm able to get it. Hopefully
Yeah,
I don't have to wait in the
hopefully
queue for 3 months to get it.
honestly, as long as they freaking up their CAPTCHA on all these purchase websites, we'll be fine because that was a killer for Nvidia. They put their founders card and all the bots in China bought them.
Oh, that's
So-
no good. That's no good.
But
at
yeah,
all.
we can't get to next gen until everyone is afforded the chance. Like,
Right.
I want to move to next gen computer, the 30 series. I want to get that card because I can support ray tracing now, but I'd really like to push my computer into that ultra high ray tracing, the full experience.
Right.
But I'm not going to be able to until I get a 30 series card.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's definitely a slow process, unfortunately. Maybe COVID had a little bit to do with it, but
Oh,
but I feel like it's always
it was all that was the biggest issue. We lost manufacturing capabilities. The
Yeah.
economy's down. The people getting hit the most, the rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer.
yeah, which is
And if you're
another
middle
topic
class,
we're
you're
gonna
under
roll
attack.
into. But any other thoughts on next gen, current gen thoughts?
Not really.
Cool, yeah. No, yeah. So we could definitely agree. It's current gen right now. Maybe next gen in a year. So we'll see how that plays out. Just all depends on the availability of the product and if everyone has an opportunity to make that transition. But enough of the gaming
It's a
talk.
capitalism thing.
What's that?
I was just laughing at Jeff. He goes, "That's not a COVID thing. That's a capitalism thing." Yeah,
but that's for
it's
another
a
time.
it's
yeah,
a
right.
non-free market capitalism thing. That's yeah, you're right. That's capitalism.
Right. But enough of the gaming talk this week. Let's move on to our non-gaming topic of the week. We kind of got two of them kind of stacked in one because there was two great topics, I think. I think we could start with the GameStop AMC surge due to Reddit, or I should just say the stock market boom.
Okay, so either of you understand really what's going on? I have a bare minimum, bare bones sort of knowledge of what was going on.
Yeah, I do.
So,
Shit, I bought some of it.
huh? Oh, you
I-
bought some, did you?
I bought some AMC, and then because of that whole thing with Robinhood shutting down, I wasn't
Yeah.
allowed to sell my shares either.
Oh, they're asking people to share. They're trying to goad people into selling.
Yeah, well, that was
And-
the thing.
and that's
It
the
wouldn't
thing.
let me sell either. So
Yeah.
then once the market let me sell, I was already negative. So when I was like, all right, cool, thanks, guys. You took my money.
I'll hold on to it for further. But
Yeah.
no, so the whole idea is these hedge funds do this thing that seems very illegal, but isn't. It's completely legal.
It's a
They
loophole.
manipulate the stock prices by buying and selling in certain ways that allows the price to get overinflated.
Free market
and
is
jump.
definitely a lie.
So what'll happen is they'll get the stock price to go up, they'll sell, and because everyone's selling at the same time, the stock prices plummet, and then they rebuy and they sell. And so
Right. Yeah, they're
the
basically
company-
controlling the market more or less.
yeah, so and they have this sort of chokehold on what's going on.
Right.
So it's what's happening is these people. So there's a group. If you've ever seen it before this scenario, it's called Wall Street Bets.
Yeah.
And what it is a subreddit that sort of talks about gambles on the stock market you can make. And what they'll do is they'll give you an idea what's going on, when to buy or what they bought, how they're doing, and it's kind of also a dick measuring contest for who made the most amount of money doing these random bets for Wall Street.
Right.
But what happened is all these normal people on Wall Street bets are like, oh, GameStop, it's gonna go down. Get it now. We can see when, because there's this data. All this data is readily available for everyone in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The stock market is open access to everyone. It's a free market is the idea, but even though it isn't. That's the idea. So this free market's open. All this money is out there. All this data, and people are like, okay, you buy the GameStop stock when it hits this point where all these people are going to overinflate it and they're going to try and buy these stocks up. And when the demand outreaches the supply, the price has to go up to make the demand go down.
Right.
Well, the issue is nobody wants to sell, so the demand won't go down, so the price will just keep going. And these hedge funds want their money back.
Right, and they were getting fucked up.
Yeah. So what happened is these hedge funds, one of the largest hedge funds lost $2 billion. So they got bailed out by another hedge fund who's also now trying to buy into the market. And then Robinhood, one of the stock trading markets, one of the stock trading apps, one of the stockbrokers, they ended up closing their doors to non-hedge funds, which then in turn is essentially
illegal.
What should be illegal. Many people believe it is.
Yeah.
There hasn't been litigation on it yet, and now the Senate is getting involved in it.
So
with
basically,
AOC.
they shut off the access to all the poor, normal people who won't make money off of it. So the poor people who are trying to make money no longer have access because the millionaires were losing money. So, oh man, the rich people were starting to lose money. Oh man, now you know how we feel. So basically, everyone that was on that subreddit and anybody that viewed it on TikTok or whatever it was, because TikTok helped blow that up too.
Yeah.
And everyone that was like, all right, cool. And the celebrities started joining in on Twitter. They were like, go buy it, go buy it, go buy it. All these people started buying it, made the price out go up. All
the
these
hedge funds couldn't buy it.
Right, poor people were now making tons of money and making all these rich people lose money. And I was like, and they were using the same exact tactics that those other people would normally use, and they didn't like it. And they got a taste of their own karma. Mm-hmm. And now look,
it's the same thing. Exactly. To be said, exactly. This is the same thing with Bitcoin. And remember how people were like, don't sell your Bitcoin. Don't sell your Bitcoin. Hold them, hold them, hold them.
Yep.
And then they would hold them, and then they would sell them in certain ways, and people were like, go buy, go sell, go buy. And you would follow these trends so that the market would go the way you wanted it to. The same thing is the stock market's the same exact thing. And we can see this with, an unregulated currency like Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
The stock market's the same concept, but it's not unregulated. The issue is there are people regulating it, these people that control it, these hedge funds, these multi-billionaires, these Wall Street people. They run the show. They just allow us laymen to join in so it looks like it's a free market. Yeah. If you make money, though, and can successfully break yourself into there and join their friend circle, then yes, you also get to be fun.
Right, exactly. But another example that happened today related to Bitcoin was Dogecoin. My friend actually was talking about it in our group chat here. He's actually speaking as we speak. He invested $40 and ended up with $200 because it went up like he says 252% was the return today. And it's one of those that was on that subreddit and people were trying to blow it up again, and it was worth not even $1 for a Dogecoin. It was actually something that was supposed to be written off like, oh, this is going to just disappear.
Yeah, Dogecoin was what my friend farmed in college. Like, I had a friend who was like, Dogecoin is the next coin.
Yeah, but it was based off of a meme from that one dog. They're like, oh, we're just going to create a currency and call it Doge.
It's the internet Doge,
Yeah. So, and then now look at it. People are starting to become millionaires, and let's see if they close that off. But it's going to be hard because, like you said, I don't think that's regulated.
Bitcoin's unregulated. That's the value of Bitcoin.
Well, this isn't Bitcoin though. This is Dogecoin, so I guess it follows.
Dogecoin is a Bitcoin. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
They're built on the same architecture. They're a different currency. They're a different wallet chain. Is the idea? They're a different blockchain.
Yeah.
But it's still the same concept. It's still the same exact thing. It's just a different. Think about it as a different stock, if you will.
Right.
They're just stocks. They're free market stocks that, unregulated by any government, and that's why the government also got upset with them because they can't regulate it and make money off of it.
So Tyrion, what's your thoughts on all this fiasco stock bullshit that's going on.
And so I don't know too much about stocks because my siblings usually dabble in it. So I love what I'm hearing right now. It's
Just soaking up all the information.
Yeah.
But what's your thoughts on the legal side of it? Them trying to close it off and take it away from the quote unquote poor people.
I think that's awful. I think it's just the rich people trying to bar off.
Well, that's the thing. These rich people are losing money, and So if you're the kid who owns the ball and people start outballing you on the basketball court, you take your ball and you leave.
Right.
That's what the rich people are doing right now. They're taking their basketball and getting the fuck off the court because they're losing.
Right,
and that's the thing. All these
That's a good
people
one.
then, all of us are sitting on the court bullying the shit out of them. And then the parents watching, our senators are like, yo, don't take the ball. Everyone's playing. Get back in there.
Right. Right.
Learn to lose. And like AOC, she was jumping on the train, and Ted Cruz retweeted AOC saying, "This is right." And I was like, whoa. Now, shout out to Spooky Crew. He was like, I think Ted Cruz is, trying to discredit AOC because Ted Cruz is a giant fucking man tool.
Right. But it seems like a lot of politicians are in favor of what happened, but like the right way, not them being prevented from using it and stuff like that. Like they're definitely totally against it.
Chat.
That's good. Chat's been great today. I love it.
Yeah, and exactly. Like me, for example, me and Sean, we're sitting here, we're like, what's going on outside? We're like the Italian grandmothers and mothers watching out from their balconies like, what the fuck's going on down there? Shit, we're missing out.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. Like what's crazy, I was just talking about my friend that invested in Dogecoin. Apparently he had stocks of GameStop last month and he sold them because obviously because GameStop is a company that's going downhill and it could cease to exist probably in the next couple of years.
But
he sold them off.
It's an unplayable
while
model.
it was still at a decent rate, and then next boom. It explodes over like 3,000%.
Now that is the stock market for most people, though.
Yeah. Sometimes you take risks.
But
who knew GameStop was going to explode like that?
Well, that's the thing. Follow up with GameStop is one of the biggest retailers nationwide. They have one of the largest numbers of stores nationwide.
Still though, because they've closed hundreds.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. And these hedge fund people have been watching them for years.
Right.
They're the ones helping kind
It'll be
of call the
interesting
shots here.
because realistically, most people are buying their games digitally. And granted, GameStop is adapting and they're trying to get into like the retro collection and the gamer apparel and stuff like that.
What about, PC? The PC market is an all-time high, really. PC gaming was a thing, but not really a thing when we were kids. Now it's, most people are like, fuck the consoles, let's get on a computer.
Right.
Almost everyone's moving there. And so what does GameStop have for the market? Steam has literally got them their nuts in a vice right now.
Right. The only impact of Steam is like who's the other launchers that you can buy games from?
You've got Epic, you've got
Epic is the
Unreal. Sorry, not Unreal. Epic. You've got Origin. You've got Steam, and then. What else is there? G2A, not G2A. You could buy games off of G2A, get keys that way. You can get keys from GOG.
Yeah.
And GOG's actually is like funded or mostly run by CD Projekt Red too.
That's interesting.
Oh wow, that is super interesting.
Yeah, I think GOG is one of their company, is like a child company of theirs, or they're a big a supporter of it.
Right, no doubt. But yeah, it's definitely been interesting. This is definitely a developing story, so we'll definitely have to see how this goes and ends up, especially once it goes through court and all that stuff. But we can move on to our last non-gaming topic of the week. We're going to talk about some TV shows that are kind of going on right now. I'm going to start with you, Satan. Yeah, a little bit more of a casual conversation here. Opposite of the spectrum. What are 2 to 3 TV shows that you guys are watching, interested in, starting it, or like anticipating?
Okay.
We'll start with you.
So I want to ask something of Sataran here.
Okay.
Sataran, I saw you on stream the other day and you were talking about Disenchantment, weren't you?
Yes.
Oh, it's such a good show, isn't it?
It is amazing.
Oh, it's so good. Have you watched all of season 3?
Yes, I have.
All right, so I have only gotten about halfway through season 3, and I can't put it down at times. I'm like sitting here at like 12:30 last night, and I was like, I need to go to bed. Shit. It's already
What show is
12:30.
this?
Huh?
What show?
Disenchantment.
Oh, okay.
So-
That's that new one that just came out, right? Or new season?
Well, the 3rd season just came out.
yeah, that's right. I never got into it, honestly. But so Tyrion, what are 2 to 3 shows that you've been watching and whatnot?
Well, as you
We're
know,
looking
I've been
forward to.
watching Disenchantment. I won't spoil it for Roger, but I think that show. You know, I'm a huge fan of Simpsons and Futurama, so like the next step up would be Disenchantment. And
Yeah.
like, I didn't like the first couple seasons.
Really?
I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't like them. I was expecting more of like a sitcom. And
Oh no, yeah.
the way they
I-
did Disenchantment was it was more like an episodic thing. But
Well, it's a whole narrative too. That's what
Yeah.
I like. I like it's that sort of Futurama vibe that I'm looking for. I fucking love Futurama, and when I watched this, I was like, this is like fantasy Futurama to me, you know.
Right.
And I liked the nature of it being not an episode or a bad guy of the week, but an actual story that progresses.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
yeah,
doubt. What are some other shows you get into, or looking forward to? I should say as well.
well, I just surprisingly, it's not really new or anything, but I just started watching Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Hey,
No,
nothing
yeah,
wrong
I've
with
never
that.
watched it, but obviously it's one of the best shows of all time. Apparently,
Yes.
Yeah, you haven't seen it either, Vic.
No.
I have not watched a single.
I watched the first
of Game of
episode a
Thrones.
long time ago. And
Oh
that is
my.
it.
Y'all need to go watch Game of Thrones.
Well, when
It's,
when the 8th season happens, or I think it's 8th season, when
Yeah,
everyone
it
was
is.
like, "Oh, the ending was shite," and I was like, "Well, maybe I won't watch it."
They got a lot in the
I'm
work too. They got like
given-
that prequel or something like that coming out.
It's like if you kind of think of it's like Lord of the like I was thinking it'd be like mostly like Lord of the Rings, but dude, it's completely like, opposite. Like dude, the storytelling in that show is just really good. Like it's a show that you watch for the dialogue.
Uh-huh.
And, like if you like really well told dialogue, it's great. I'd highly recommend it. Yeah, I mean, other than that, like I just started The Mandalorian.
Hey.
I'm on episode 2. I think I'm on episode 2. I don't know how I feel about the show yet, but
It's the greatest thing that happened to Star Wars since Disney bought it.
yes, I heard it was really good, so I need to keep watching.
That isn't saying much.
No, but it's honestly like some of the greatest like TV experience that you can really enjoy. And like if you're really big into Star Wars, there's a lot of like lore and like small details that you
Easter eggs.
notice from the movies or games or books. You're like, hey, I know that's from that or whatever, and you just pick up a little stuff. And I think it's a lot of fan service that's in it.
You triggered somebody.
Clone Wars is alright, but yeah, that was before Disney. Disney did good with season 7. Yes, they did great with season 7. That was like a movie.
Oh, oh, never mind.
That, the
But
audio
no, Mandalorian's great.
is the THX thing. It sounds so good. I feel like Star Wars has that THX like sound thing that's like kind of specific to the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
But
that
it's so
that
good.
when you walk into the movie theater.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
It just has this unique sound, and I love it.
Right. The last 4 episodes, epic. The last episode made me cry and tremble. I was just like, oh, man, you just got to get to the last episode. It and it makes everything great. And the thing is, it's not even tears of sadness, partially, but it's all like happiness and excitement. You're like, oh my god, that was epic. Like it's definitely a highly recommended show.
Like action or what would you consider it as I
don't know. It has like that Western feel, like it has that Wild Wild West kind of feel, samurai-esque feel. Like it has that kind of blend, but it's like an action. It has a Star Wars feel to it, but it has like its own unique feeling to it.
Yeah, I guess you're trying to say it breaks the sort of genre that Star Wars normally is.
Right.
You know, it's heavier storytelling, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, it's heavy on storytelling.
Yeah, so there you go.
And it builds like after each episode, you're just like, oh, that's it. Damn, I can't wait for next week. Like it leaves you hooked after every episode. you're just like, oh man. And then because like Baby Yoda is a huge part in that show. So from the moment you meet him until the last episode, you're just like, yeah, that's dope. Oh man, that's great. Yeah, we're definitely not trying to spoil anything, so
yeah,
that's why I've been trying to hover around.
We said
it.
No spoilers, spooky crew. God damn it.
Yeah, but no, it's definitely an epic show, and the thing is that it's becoming like the Marvel universe, like the MCU, and except this is the Star Wars universe.
Well, that's Disney right now. Disney is like, let's build canon that will sell
and
content.
They have two great people controlling this and building this. Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, two of the greatest of all time, hands down. Like Jon Favreau was ones that started the MCU with Iron Man, but Dave Filoni, he's been there for Clone Wars, Rebels. Now he started The Mandalorian, and he has the book of Boba Fett at the end of this year. I think he's doing the Ahsoka show, because the book of Boba Fett, the Ahsoka show, the New Rangers Republic, and I think there's another show that's unannounced, is all connected to the same universe and take place during
the same Avatar: The Last Airbender? Oh.
Yeah.
That's a good show. The beginning is a little rough around the edges, but I like where it goes.
Right. No, yeah. Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, man. Two great people. Definitely looking forward to that. But what about you, Roger? What are some shows that are that you've been watching or looking forward to?
I'm going to take a little bit of a kind of detour around from the norms that most people probably would talk about on the shows here. Oh. I've been watching some anime. That's what I've been watching. That and Disenchantment. So I've been watching Disenchantment with Jordan, because we have to have something that we can watch together. Right. Because we kind of put the Arrowverse of shows on pause for a little bit, because we wanted to watch something else, because I was watching a sitcom on my own, and Jordan got pissed because she liked it. Don't watch stuff and get wife aggro. That's all I'm saying. You can't watch anything on your own. Yes, I am a man of culture. I do like anime. So I've been watching the new Attack on Titan season, and man, every episode I'm like sitting here like, oh my god, it's so good right now. Like they essentially left the show in such a place that they could have like 3 more seasons and just still have content, because the season before this last one now instantly turned on a head to change what we're going. And like with the fact that we're, this last season of Attack on Titan, they only got 13 episodes, I think it is. So you have to do so much in only 13 20-minute episodes. And they have to tie up this huge story, and it's just been solid action every episode, no filler. It's just go. And it's just genuinely good content. It's like what we've wanted to see the entire show, and what all these people have been building up for. So I've been watching the crap out of Attack on Titan every Monday it comes out. I also started watching the new season of That Time I Was Reincarnated as a Slime. That's a mouthful. That's a pretty cool show. I like it just because I'm a big fan of RPGs, RTSs, and I like the idea of a character coming out of nowhere, building a nation. Like, one of my favorite games, honestly, tying it back to video games here, is Suikoden Chronicles 7, which was one where you were a prince of a kingdom, your sister was the princess, and your mother it's a matriarchal society and not a patriarchal. So the women are the leaders of the world. Mm-hmm. And so your sister is supposed to take over. There's a huge coup, and you got to go around in an RPG style fashion, collecting people, building an army for a giant RTS or like turn-based strategy battle at the end of the game. So like that's what this show reminds me of, and it's just like slowly building up. And I like the character, I like the humor in it. Like, one of my favorite jokes that I think about in an anime comes from that show, like the first season. The main character, everyone jokes about, when I die, delete my browser history. They have a scene in the show. So it's what's called an isekai. So the character dies or gets transported to another world, where now they're from normal world to a fantasy world. Character gets stabbed in the first episode, and he looks at one of his coworkers who's there when he got stabbed, and he's like, delete my browser history. And so his coworker just takes his computer, plugs it in, and drops it into an entirely filled tub of water. And I was like, yeah, sold.
That's definitely
But
great.
you know, the third show I would have to say is that I'm watching Disenchantment with Jordan, and the last season of Disenchantment left me on the edge of my seat. I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
They're just like, oh, yeah, she's back alive. Here's this person's here. We're killing these people. This person's king now. And it's like, all this shit's happening. I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty funny. And I really like the steampunk aspect that they added to Disenchantment. If you haven't seen it, the steampunk is pretty cool. I thought it was kind of a nice little critique of society, because you can see where they draw similarities between us and and the show, and they make light, but at the same time you're like, man, they're really just making jokes about our society right now through the show. And I think it's a really cool show, and it reminds me of Futurama. If you like Futurama, or if you've seen the Futurama, or you've seen Simpsons, well, honestly, if people here haven't seen the Simpsons,
They've been hiding under a rock all their life.
yeah, it's literally the American TV show. It's the American cartoon
Right,
for all
right.
ages.
Exactly.
So no,
yeah, I'm gonna have to
Disenchantment's
check out
probably one of the
Disenchantment.
coolest
Sounds
things.
good. Definitely sounds good. I'm not much of a TV show guy myself, but
Really?
I'm pretty. I'm just in the games. I really don't watch TV, period, or movies for that sake. But
Well, you have a girlfriend.
yeah,
Don't you watch shows with her?
no. I don't watch anything.
odd
Like,
person.
I mean, I've watched some stuff with her. I can't say I don't. Like,
Yeah.
we, me and her started the WandaVision, so like, obviously we watched the 2 premiere episodes, and then we didn't watch this past Friday, so we'll just catch up this weekend and watch the 2 new episodes. The one that comes out tomorrow plus the one we missed. So we'll catch up on that. So I'm eager to see that TV show develop along with the rest of that Phase 4 that we've talked about in last week's episode. But then
Yeah.
of course I'm probably one of the biggest Star Wars nerds. So like I'm looking forward to everything that Star Wars that was announced recently, like all the shows like the Acolytes and the Ahsoka show. Like there's like 10 projects, or the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Like that's going to be dope to see.
Honestly, I just think there's just too many shows nowadays. There's so much stuff to wade through anymore.
Right. Sometimes it's just too much where you can't get to everything.
And you have to find the gems. And then you roll across the pilot of a TV show, and you're like, "Well, that was funny." And then you get like 5 episodes, and you're like, "Wow, I've wasted 5 hours of my life."
All right, cool. Thank you. No, yeah. Another series that I've always been a fan of is The Walking Dead. I've always enjoyed like that apocalyptic zombie like genre. Like it's just been something iconic on the state. But I've like fell off. I've like 2 seasons behind, and they've grown the universe so big. Like it's a universe. They have The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, World Beyond, or something like that. Like they have all these other new spin-offs
Because
from
it
it, and I'm
sells.
just like, I'm so far behind from the whole thing. And then there's movies coming out for the series too, so that'll be cool. But it's just like
Tubi's right.
I gotta catch back up.
That is Netflix is a TV show in itself, and every episode sucks. I just the hunt for a movie every time. Oh
Yeah.
my god, hunting for a movie.
Gotta do that like random movie generator or whatever. You're just like, this one. All right, cool.
And then it tells you to watch something you've watched, and you're like, yep, nope.
Nope.
Like the last movie I rewatched, like the only reason I rewatched it is because I had songs stuck in my head. I rewatched Mulan,
Which one? The remake or the original?
the original.
Okay.
There is no remake.
I
There's no
heard
fucking
it was
remake.
not
Get
that
out
good.
of here with that shit.
heard it wasn't that good, especially since Mushu's not in it.
Oh yeah, it was a real life one. I
Yeah,
think.
the live action.
There was no remake, okay? Disney fucked up.
Yeah, I feel like
Did you know there was a second animated Mulan? I didn't. I found out after I finished the first one.
oh, there is.
Yes.
I just found out today. I was 7
yeah,
years old.
okay, yeah, that's where I'm coming from. Disney's like sequels, all the sequels.
He rewatched Scott Pilgrim. The game just came
Yo,
back into
Scott Pilgrim is an amazing movie.
Well, the game just came remastered. I guess they remastered the game, so that's back out. I
Yeah.
guess. But I was gonna say something else. But yeah, TV shows, man. There's just so much out there. Like
Yeah, and you guys are like, I'll sit there and chat with Spooky and with Jeff and sometimes Phil too, and they're like, oh yeah, see the Mandalorian. I was like, it sounds cool, but like I'm not that big into Star Wars lately, and it's just like I've got enough I'm watching. Jordan yells at me enough that I don't finish TV shows. I don't need another one.
Right, right. Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You guys have any last ideas, thoughts, or anything on the TV shows at all?
I guess before we move to the next topic, Roger, you mentioned Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I'm like literally on the last episode of season 1 on that show.
Yes.
How many seasons is it now?
3? I think it's 3. It's season 1. Yeah, so it's 4, I think. Season 1, 2, 3, and then the final season.
Okay,
I believe
I've
it's 4.
suggested that show a couple of times, and usually
Honestly, the first season was really good. The second season I kind of glossed over. Third season was amazing. It brought everything together so the whole idea is Attack on Titan, if you really want to watch an anime, but you're still looking for that action, that content, that movement, go with something like this. This is like a callback to your classic like Dragon Ball Z like action. It's an action show, but it's actually really well written. The manga for it is really good. It's so there's so much going on in Attack on Titan. There's just this whole universe of just like things we don't know about, and they slowly, as you go, they're like, oh, it's just starts off as a nihilistic show, and by the end of the third season, you're like, holy shit, everything just turned on its head. So.
Yeah, for sure. But I have one last thought too on this before we close out the podcast. I read something on I think it was Instagram, but it's along the lines of the TV series. It's the Tomb Raider TV series and the Skull Island anime series.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Those are 2 shows that were just recently announced. They kind of piqued my interest in a little bit, but Netflix
the Tomb Raider
has built
show
this.
Is supposed to have like a good director, I think.
Right. It's pretty cool because Netflix has this like whole list of TV shows that are coming out in the next 2-3 years, I guess, or even this year, I guess, that are all video game adaptations. I'd have to find the list again, but there's probably a good like 10 to 12 TV shows that are being made based off of games, and I was just like,
I think it's an interesting sort of. I think it could be interesting, but at the same time, I gotta say, just like book adaptations, video game adaptations, you have a little more to work with, to be honest, because you're no longer playing with the theater of the mind. What's on the game is what's on the game. You can see with your eyes the game. So to change that and put that in perspective of real life, yeah.
Someone's not a fan of the new Resident Evil TV show coming out. It's the animated.
Yeah, so I think honestly it has a shot. But then again, it's an adaptation of a game. I think most adaptations of games are a little rough around the edges.
Right. Well, the issues were always the movie format, because you figure every video game adaptation was in movie format all the time. Most of the time it was always a movie. And those ones are, most of the time, garbage. Most of the time. Yeah. I think TV shows, they have a lot more flexibility and ways to like customize each episode and make a story deeper with a TV series. So I think it would be cool to see them try it in a new format as opposed to a movie.
Well, it'll still be better than the Mortal Kombat movies. Things like that exist out there.
No doubt. But you guys all good on the TV shows?
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of good stuff out there. But if anyone wants anime recommendations, I love to start talking anime. I love anime, dude. It's so good. And to find other people who like anime is not always easy.
No, yeah, it's definitely a booming market. Heck, I see it all over Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's people just talking about anime, and it's become, they're like, you really watch anime? And it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, dude,
it's
I have
new.
3 bookshelves full of manga. I just read the shit out of it, dude.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. But now let's just go ahead and close out this week's episode with any last comments or remarks. Anything from you guys at all?
No, honestly, just I hope that moving forward we're gonna see some legislation here that might help the layman out coming forward, especially with this whole stock market thing. Right. I really hope that the government grabs these people by the balls, they're probably going to get fined. Oh, we're going to fine them $100,000. They're billionaires. They don't care.
Right. Hey,
So,
cool. Here's $10.
Yeah, here's 10 bills. Have a good one.
Right.
It's the shit's unreal that's going on lately, but I think gaming right now, we're in a good, nice dead period, so now's the time to play games on your backlist.
Yeah. Play a lot of games on your backlog. Catch up on your TV shows. It's a perfect time of the year, for sure. But first off, I want to start by thanking everyone who showed up today for the live stream. I appreciate the engagement. This is probably our best episode yet, so definitely appreciate
Shout out to
y'all.
chat.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us.
See if you guys can show up to next week's episode as well. But also want to shout out to everybody who checks us out on YouTube next week or anytime in the future. So it's always cool to see you guys check that video out as well. And then again, we just want to reiterate the changing of our in-progress reviews of games to the first Thursday of every month. So the next one is Cuphead on February. What is that? The the date on that? Is it the 2nd, not 3rd?
It's February. It's going to be February
4th.
7th. Sorry, 4th.
Yeah, the 4th. So we got February 4th. We'll do a little in-progress review of Cuphead. We might actually hopefully have beaten it by then, but we'll see.
Maybe.
The game's pretty rough.
We've got a weekend and a little bit of a next week.
Right. It's been pretty rough, pretty hard too. I mean, we only played a little bit of it, but it's fun. It's definitely fun for sure. But
A whole different genre for you.
yeah, especially going from controller to keyboard and mouse, it's definitely I think it's actually a good game to introduce me to keyboard and mouse, to try and learn controls. Like, it's nothing that's too crazy, but it's definitely challenging to try and get that hand-eye coordination. I'm used to, like, WASD, but in this game, it's, like, arrows with Z, X, C, V, and I'm just, like... Then I'm pressing the Windows button, and then shit gets fucked up. It's just not good. But, so, Terry, what you been working on, man? Any projects, work? You're bettering yourself at all?
How's streaming going?
Oh, yeah. So, mostly, my streaming's going well. I mostly stream so I can, be in like a multiplayer kind of verse while I'm playing single player games. It helps me kind of accomplish that. But ever since I did start streaming single player games, I've played so many good games that I've missed out on, and I'm really grateful for that. That Twitch helped me push through those more boring moments in single player gaming.
Yeah.
Right.
And I see that you guys are both have been exercising. I can tell by your muscles. Well,
Nope, far from it.
wow.
I'm hiding it down here too.
Yeah, I'm getting back into lifting, and just because I do stream and I spend too much time sitting down. But yeah, I'm really trying to get back into like a routine. It just makes you feel so much better.
It really does. Like, I've been, what I'll do is, like, every so often, I'll just, like, do some push-ups over here. Oh, I died. All right, well, while I'm waiting for the next round, do a few push-ups.
No, yeah, nothing wrong with that. You got to start somewhere, honestly. Otherwise, you're not going to start at all.
Exactly.
But where can we find you at, Saturn?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Ashiat.
You want to spell that?
It's AHSHIAT. I'm usually just streaming whenever I play games, which is mostly all the time.
Okay.
Other than that, I'm just working on some music, but that's about it for me.
That's
no,
pretty
yeah,
cool.
nothing wrong with that though. That's pretty cool to hear. What about you, Roger? You working on yourself? Any projects other than the push-ups?
I haven't. I ended up actually fixing a speaker this week.
Okay, that's different.
Looking back at my dad, he's always Mr. Handyman, and I've always felt like, oh shit, I'm worthless compared to my dad sometimes. But then I look, I'm
That's
like,
how I feel.
I fixed my own car, I fix things around the house. I own a house now, and I do most of the repairs because Jordan, she ain't gonna know how to do anything if something breaks.
Right.
But yeah, honestly, I actually had a pair of tall speakers. Had a built-in subwoofer stuff, and they were really nice. But bottom speaker on them dry rotted on the phone. And so I went to go buy new speakers, and they're like, 50, 60, $70 per speaker, the actual speaker for the whole unit. So I was like, can I fix the foam? Will that fix the issue? Well, turns out you can, and I ended up doing that, and that was pretty cool. I ended up changing out the foam on the speaker, and didn't fuck it up. And
That's
now
good.
I got my speakers back, and now I get to put surround sound in the den down here in the basement for when I'm gaming.
No, yeah, that's pretty dope. That's definitely
Yeah,
pretty
no,
dope.
I'm super excited for that.
Anything else, or if not, where can we find you
Other than
at?
that, I put the Warhammer stuff down, and it's been bothering me because I'm looking at the stack, and I'm like, God damn, there's so much stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I can't play Warhammer right now, so it's not a bad deal. It's not that big of a deal.
Right. Yeah, until we all get vaccinated.
Yeah, once that happens, I'm gonna hang out a lot more, once a week again, which will be nice.
No, yeah,
I-
for sure.
I think
Pink
the first
coward.
one out there- I definitely am very confused with Warhammer, but I'm definitely enthusiastic to learn it.
Well,
So,
dude, I bought so many extra armies that you can just come over and try again.
yeah, I figured, man,
so
I
many
really
armies.
appreciate that, dude. Like, I know it's a lot of commitment, and
Well, it's
my drive isn't exactly there, but I do want to pick it
like
up.
wanting to learn it. If you're always interested in tabletop, I think once this whole pandemic thing calms down again, and I'm hanging out with my friends, Jeff Slugs and the Spooky Crew both wanted to do maybe some potential streaming of tabletop gaming. So if we do Warhammer, we may do really shitty battle reports, but you can check us out. We'll teach you how to play the game of Warhammer, and I think that'd be pretty cool.
No, yeah, that's pretty dope. But Roger, where can we find you at?
Well, if you're not watching me live, you can check me out at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion. Oblivion spelled with an A.
Yes, sir. I want to start by asking everyone to check out the talk show on the Chill Zone on our YouTube, or catch us on live on every Friday at 7 p.m. at my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin', where I go talk about unique topics. I bring different people on and that bring awareness to something, whether it's like a disease or an issue in the world, or we advertise our business, our skills. So it's definitely like a new platform that I put together for people to help engage as well. But other than that, I'm still working on beating Cyberpunk and Watch Dogs. So that's just a work in progress. I think I'm almost done with Watch Dogs. I think I only have two main storylines left, and then that's done. So it kind of has a similar feel to Assassin's Creed, where you have to take out like each minor bad guy to get to the bigger bad guy, which is what we talked about before, the whole Ubisoft copy and paste thing.
Yeah.
But,
Honestly, the Watchdog things has been pretty cancerous. I wanted to beat it. Playing it is just like, I got to the point where I just started driving my car through every pedestrian on the side of the road. I was like, wow, there's no repercussions. Nobody's going to come for me. I'm in a literal police state. And I'm just like, I just keep hitting people. I walk down the street and I'm like, click. Somebody just derails into somebody to the right and runs them over and kills them. And I'm like, cool. And then you go check them out. It's like, hospitalized because of. And I was like, I hit him at 60 miles an hour. How's he in the hospital?
Right, yeah, they don't die. But
no.
It's funny because like I would literally I get to the point where I'm almost done playing the game. I'm just ready to get off. I will sit there in like an intersection and just control every car that drives through and crash them into the same wall. This thing would be like a pile up of cars, and then they just explode. And I'm like, all right, cool. Where are the police and the ambulances? Like nobody shows up. I'm like, all right, cool. Why not?
No, that goes back to that whole that realistic NPCs for
what we talked about last week.
For GTA. Hopefully they do, because honestly, all these games, these open world city games, they're just GTA remakes with different controls or different ways of playing. GTA is the original city game where you run around free mode playing in a city, and like honestly, GTA 4 felt more immersive at times. I shot somebody and all of a sudden people are like, yo, there's a madman with a gun! And the cops just show up in like SWAT vehicles at 4 stars. And I'm like, this is what I'm looking for.
Exactly. But yeah, definitely be on the lookout for those reviews soon. I think I'm going to get Watch Dogs up probably in the next week or two. Cyberpunk probably sometime in February, like end of February, maybe early March, by the time I feel like playing through that game. Because as I said, I'm getting just dove back into Call of Duty, so that's been taking up a lot of my time. But just also be on come check me out live tomorrow, twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin' for the episode 2 of the talk show with Vic, as I bring on my cousin Steven. We're going to talk about his firefighting journey from being a junior firefighter to whole way up being a paid firefighter. So we can watch how, if you ever want to be a firefighter, how that works. Definitely come check that out. Other than that, you can catch me at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin' _. You got Xbox X Never Space Chillin'. So come game with me, party up. We could chat about anything you want as well. If not, you can hit me up on Facebook if you want to be on the show, have any questions, at Vic Brubacher. And again, my Twitch channel, one more time here, is twitch.tv, Mr. Never Chillin'. So definitely come check us out. Next up, I want to start off by thanking Satirin for coming on the show today. We appreciate you on the show. Thought you did really well and brought a lot of good insight and knowledge, especially on the Resident Evil part.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
Have another streamer with a community to bring on and just sort of talk. You know,
exactly.
I'm really grateful that you brought your community over to hang out.
Right. Yeah, it was good. You definitely brought a heck of a community to come chat with us. So shout out to
the new followers I got. You know, thanks for checking us out, guys.
No, yeah, we greatly appreciate it. And again, we'll continue to release weekly episodes as well. Make sure you continue to check us out when we record these live at 7 p.m. every Thursday, and then at twitch.tv/lunatic_oblivion with an A. And then make sure y'all like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you can't catch us live, they're always on YouTube, either Monday or Tuesday of the following week. So turn those notifications on too if you want to be notified when they do go live as well. But if you want to come on the show, hit me up. If not, continue to help us by sharing the content. We want to grow this community as much as possible. It's good to connect with people as well. But thanks again, and until next time, peace.
Peace, guys.
Bye-bye.